We're not going to get a second chance in the game.
Okay, coaches, thanks for being with me. This is my third episode talking about the base nickel defense. And one of the things about the base nickel defense is, while we're very comfortable running it against one-back and two-back offenses, there is a time when you need a sub package, and we found this through the years, not just for goal line, but if you're facing an offense that is a traditional three-back or even a two-back, two tight end type offense, you need to have a sub package. And so we have an effective, what we feel is an effective goal line and short yardage package. Our personnel we refer to as Wolverine, but it's something we've run the last several years, and it's been an effective defense for us. We do change personnel, so it is quite a bit different than a nickel, and it is what you want. It is a defense that is designed to stop short run and having short area space to stop them in. So I'm going to talk about that, and I'll have some clips and show you some of our goal line package and short yardage package from the last couple of years. First of all, one of the things that we want to talk about when we introduce the package here is that what are our principles on the goal line? Our principles are probably like a lot of people when you get to the goal line or short yardage. You want to overload the run gaps. We certainly want to have all the run gaps filled. That's a priority number one. The next thing is, well, what are you going to do with the passing game? Well, the number one thing is to take away easy completion space. So the short throws, we want to force throws from being short and inside to being long and outside. Those are the lowest completion rate throws, so that's a priority in our secondary. And then the third thing is you want to overload the offense. They don't have a whole lot of time, so you want to be able to bring one more than the offense can block. Those are some just basic generic principles that we've developed over the years, and probably not different than most people. So I want to get into what we do, our alignments, and kind of what we look for personnel-wise in our Wolverine, our goal line package. We're going to start with our D tackles. These are A-gap penetrators. They line up in the A-gap. We need to get penetration, get in the backfield. If the quarterback's under center, we like them to get back there and try to get into the quarterback's feet and take away leverage from the quarterback or make him fall or create a fumble. That's priority number one. Number two is we use a lot of submarine technique, two hands on the ground and crawling, that kind of thing. But we also are cognizant, because the offenses now, they're not always going to be under center. Sometimes we have a short yardage where the quarterback's in the gun, and that technique will change a little bit. We certainly don't want our guys submarining through the ground if the quarterback's in the gun. So even though we want them to A-gap penetrators, they will need to know the difference from the quarterback's under center, where we're thinking quarterback sneak, versus the quarterback is in the gun. The other thing about our A-gap guys, we've used big guys, we've used small guys. Really guys who are quick and can play with some low leverage are the ones that are really good. Really bear crawl through there and make plays is really what you're looking for. So it doesn't have to be the biggest guy, certainly don't be the smallest guy either. You're just trying to find a guy that can play with great low leverage, can play on his hands, and is comfortable down there. Our defensive ends, we line up our defensive ends in 4 eyes. And so from the 4-eye position, one of the things that over the years that we use is what we call a ricochet technique. And what happens is the reason we do a 4-eye instead of a 3, and I know some people in their goal line package will use like a bear package where they have the center covered and they'll do 2 3s. What we have found is that 3 technique, the tackle can block down and really get movement on a 3 technique. So for the goal line or short yardage defense to be effective, it's important that our D ends in a 4-eye do not allow that collapsing from the tackle. So we call it a ricochet technique, and it's a little bit more difficult than we wish it would be, but we've had some success with certain players doing it. We basically want to try to attack the defensive tackle or the offensive tackle and then get vertical or penetrate from there. We're trying to make sure that we don't get collapsed down or get knocked on our butt. So we actually are attacking the offensive tackle, making sure that he doesn't collapse us, and then we get vertical. We call that a ricochet technique, and it's one of the things that I think it has helped us, and you'll see some film on that. The DN who's in a 4-eye, obviously he's going to be a B-gap player. He needs to be able to control the B-gap, can't get collapsed, can't get knocked down. And the other thing is we put our best defensive lineman goes not only to the defensive end spot, which is our 4-eye, but also will go on the left side. Most teams are right-handed, so you'll end up having to defend runs to your left, the offensive right a lot more. So whoever is your best defensive lineman will be that left defensive end, playing that 4-eye and playing that ricochet technique to that side. Outside linebacker technique, I have a picture here. Shows you a little bit of how we do the technique. There's 3 outside linebackers in this picture. We consider him our 2-for-1 player. And what we mean by that is he can take away gap space or run space and take away pass space. So obviously that's the key, is being able to cover all of the eligible receivers, but also not giving them gaps to run in. And you can see from the picture here that you see our guys have their butts in their gaps and their eyes on their receiver, and they're supposed to get their hands on him immediately and be able to determine whether that guy's releasing for a pass or if the guy's trying to block. If they're trying to block, they just basically, a lot like the ricochet technique, is they want to build a wall and not allow him to get collapsed down and eventually be able to penetrate through that gap. If he releases, we want a good jam so they can't get out of there fast and then cover the guy down the field. So we want to maintain run gap space. We want to cover the attached tight end and a receiver threat. We also have another, what we call a rack technique. We've used this sometimes out of necessity against an ineligible tight end, where that guy can't go out, but he's usually bigger. Sometimes people will put in one of their bigger offensive linemen or whatever. And our guy will be in his normal position, but the rack means he's going to rip across his chest, which will be a gap exchange with one of the linebackers. And we've had some success with that, particularly against an ineligible guy. You don't have to worry about him getting down the field because he's ineligible. He can be ineligible by number. He can be ineligible by alignment too. So that's just, and I think I have some clips of that I can show you how that works. All right, our edge guys, these are critical guys. These are immediate force or pin players. They come off the edge, and their job is to force the play. And they have to be guys that can be tight to the line of scrimmage, but they have to be guys with short area quickness and toughness. They're going to come off the edge. They're going to tackle what they see. They're going to react to what they see. These would be the kind of guys that would be maybe like a, point guard on a basketball team. If he was a tough kind of guy, could do that. It's got to be a guy that can start and stop pretty fast, because he's got to protect on any outside play, but he may have to dive inside and make a tackle at the leg, so he's going to have to be a tough guy too. This is really the critical guy, because if they come in with any hesitation, it only takes a little bit of hesitation for the offense to really have success down there. So it's important that you find this guy. A lot of times it's tough to find him early because you don't want to spend a lot of time beating each other up. For us last year, our backup quarterback was our edge guy, and he ended up, he also was a receiver and running back for us. So he was just a quick guy. He was pretty good size, tough, and just would be a guy that you knew would stick his nose in there and make plays. Had good short area quickness and all those types of things. So it can be anybody on your team. There's no way really to give you a specific position. You're just looking for those guys that have short area quickness and toughness. All right, one of the things about our linebackers in this scheme, our linebackers are free hitters. They're really going to have no gap. They're going to flow and hit. And it's critical that you have linebackers that can do goal line tackle. Goal line tackle means you have to have a strike area on your runner where when you hit him, he's going right down or he's going backwards. You can't hit him from a position where you're catching. So sometimes those guys aren't always your best linebackers. So they got to be able to flow. They should be clean, and they need to be able to tackle and take a guy down or create leverage going backwards on them. And that's really the critical thing, because you can't give up any space at all. Now, as far as alignment, one of the things that's really helped us with our linebackers and adjustments, because we see all kinds of formations. We'll call our short yardage stuff, but sometimes we'll see, one back, two back. We have to be able to do all of that stuff. We see some motion or whatnot. So the way our goal line defense works is we match numbers. So it's really pretty easy. If there's one running back, then there's one linebacker. If there's two running backs, then there's two linebackers. And if there's three running backs, then there's three linebackers. Now, personnel-wise, those linebackers could be a safety, a big safety, could even be a cornerback if you want. But they're going to be traditional linebackers. They're going to be off the line. They're going to be flow players looking into the backfield. So those are some of the ways that we can align to many different formations. Our DB technique, we touched on it. And one of the principles of goal line defense is you want to take away the easy completion space. So obviously, the DB technique is going to be taking away short space and forcing low percentage throws. And those throws are typically fades. You want to take away anything short and inside, and you want to force them into throws to the outside. One other technique that I think is an emphasis is when you get into the red zone, it's important to man turn into the receiver versus zone turn into the receiver. And what I mean by that is when you're running with the guy, we like to turn and get chest to chest. And so we're actually looking at the receiver as we go up and try to play the ball versus getting chest to back. And what happens is, if you look at it, when those guys are the good fade route runners, when they get chest to back, they're going to push off, and 90% of the time you're not going to get it called. And so if you go chest to back, you're going to get a push off, and the guy's going to go up and catch it, and it's probably likely you're not going to get the call. If you go chest to chest, now he can't push off on you. You're right in his chest. You can go through his hands, through his eyes, through his hands, and you can make that play. And we've had a lot more success on that. And obviously out in the open field, you don't go chest to chest because the guy's he's got all that space to outrun you. But in the goal line or in the back of the end zone, he can't outrun you. So it's just basically boxing up and trying to get a rebound, getting chest to chest, and getting through the guy's hands. So those are some techniques that our DBs use that have been effective for us, and I'll show you some clips of that here in just a second. Okay, here's some clips of us in our goal line. This is against a two-back, two tight end wing team. So we're not necessarily in the red zone. We're just outside of the red zone here. But you can see they have two running backs. We have two linebackers. You can see the two linebackers right here. One of them is actually our strong safety. The other one's our Mike linebacker. And then on the edge here, we've got to be able to occupy the space and gap space by the tight end and the wing. And then here's our edge people. This is actually our cornerback. We rather have our cornerback as an edge rusher than a cover guy. And then up here is another guy who's our cornerback. So those end up being our short area quickness guys. And yes, they're typically our better cover guys, but when you get in a goal line and short yardage situation, we're looking for bigger guys who are more into jam and technique than they are in just pure coverage technique. So here's one where they're going to play action, and you see the pass here. And that's why you bring that unblocked guy off the edge, and he's got to be a player. So is probably likely that as this guy goes in the flat, he's open. But because our edge guy is so active getting in the quarterback's face, they're unable to throw, and we're able to get a sack. Here's an end zone look at it here. Our edge guy is right here, and he's going to come off the edge. We're in man-to-man on this guy, and we're man-to-man on this guy. You can see there's two stand-up guys here. So he's protecting the contained edge of the quarterback. You see our linebackers are here. Our middle linebacker, that's actually our strong safety. Here's our other edge guy, and he was a running back for us. He wasn't as effective off the edge. He would get too wide. As you can see, this is early on, I think first game of the season. He's too wide here for us. But this guy here is about where we'd want it, and he plays with great leverage and length here. And you can see him come off of this edge. Avoid the two guys and right in the quarterback's face. And so it makes a really great play for us here. Here's one. This was that backup quarterback I told you about off the edge last year. See if I can get a better look at it here. This is in our first scrimmage. Here he comes off the edge, unblocked, and able to make a play in the backfield there. We got the short yardage package in a little bit late, but you can kind of see our penetrators down here. Although this is in the gun, so we don't want them submarining. We want them bear crawling and getting up. So we have to work on that a little bit, but you can see the edge guy gets there. Here's another one. I think you're going to get a better look at the defensive end here that makes the play. So here's our 4-eye. He doesn't do a great job of ricochet. He basically gets through the gap and is able to make the play in the backfield. This is an offensive lineman. So we only had him for goal line situations. So this guy here, 4-eye, we'd want him to attack right here. It doesn't matter here because we're not getting a down block. We're getting an out block. So really, if he ricocheted, it wouldn't matter. But you can see him coming through here and being able to make a play in the backfield quickly. All right, here's that pro tight wing again. Just another look at it. Double tight. Two backs, two linebackers here. This is a power toss, and this is the edge guy, how important the edge guy is here. He's got to be able to guy with short area quickness. Not a great job there. While he does get around it, he's just not able to cut him off, but we're able to get some real good pursuit out of our linebackers. And I think you get a better look at it here. Here's the tight view, and then I'll show you the end zone view of it here. There he is. So there's our edge guy. We'd like to have an edge guy that can make that play. He's unblocked and can cut him down right at the thigh board there. That'd be great. But he isn't able to make the play. But the linebacker, who's a free hitter, is able to make the play. So you get a look at it here. Watch number 45. All these gaps are covered. 55 is our 2-for-1 guy. He's on the tight end there. So he's watch 45 flow and get inside out and make a nice play here. I was also noticing number 90 here, who's our defensive end. You see him attack through that shoulder. Of the offensive guard there. I'm sorry, the tackle, and then get down the line and able to run to the ball and make a play. Here's a 3-back or a 2-back with an offset guy here. Give you a look at the tight look here. Our 2-for-1 guys right here. There's our tight end. this guy has to leave because that becomes another tight end, so we should have two linebackers here. So this is a misalignment by him. He should be over here guarding him, but he doesn't. What you see here is our 2-for-1 guy, which is him. When he sees the guy block out on our edge, he comes crashing in. And that makes a big difference, and that's why we're able to stop that play. We'll see it from the end zone here and get a better look at it. But as he sees his, this is 45 right here, he's in man-to-man on this guy here. As he see him block out, watch him come, and then watch him wrong arm the fullback, and then you see this space here for the linebacker to come fit. Again, we had an unblocked guy at the point of attack, taking away run space, and that's what you want. All right, here's one of my favorites. This is a 4th and 1, and they give a lot of different motions and shifts, and probably just a great example of a linebacker, what you want out of a linebacker meeting a running back at the goal line here. So I'll give you this is the tighter shot here. Again, lots of motions and shifts. We're using our principles. They're in like a wildcat look, so this isn't even the quarterback. And the end zone view here will give you a great look at number 26, the linebacker. Remember we talked about he's a free hitter, but just being a free hitter is not good enough. They have to be able to hit and stop momentum and drive the guy back. And so a lot of that depends on your foot placement. A lot of it depends on your strike area, where you strike the runner, all that kind of stuff. So if you watch here, this is a perfect example of a scrape, and then hitting and nice goal line tackle. Again, this is 4th and 1, and really just a perfect fit. Couldn't ask for anything better than that. 79, which again, this is an unbalanced set, so there's a lot going on here. So there's only two guys on this side. We end up giving up a gap over here for good reason, because it's pretty obvious everything's coming over here. But you see the penetration here. Unfortunately, we do get some movement here, but they're not running on that side. Number 79 plays low enough to where he doesn't get moved a whole lot. And then the greatest thing here and the hardest thing to do is the patience of this linebacker. And he stays just right off of his hip, so the running back doesn't even see him at this point. And then when he makes this hit, right, he squares up on the guy, and then watch him move his feet, and then of course you got to have help from the team there. So a 4th and 1 stop, there's really nothing better than that, especially on the 1-yard line. Doesn't get a whole lot better than that. Okay, here's one. We're shotgun 3 backs, all the same principles, but notice the difference here is that you're going to see 3 linebackers here to match the 3 backs in the backfield. Penetration is the key. Again, we have a great edge guy here, and they're hard to find. If you get one like number 5 for us here, really good edge guy, very fast, great athlete, and watch him come in there and lower his shoulder and makes the play in the backfield. But you see 37, who's playing our outside linebacker. Notice he attacks the guy with his hands and doesn't allow him to collapse him, so he widens that gap. And then 49, who's playing the A gap, watch him shoot through there and hit the backside pulling guard. So he's able to avoid the guard, penetrate, and hit that backside guard pulling, which takes him out of the play, and then the pursuit gets there. Really picture-perfect way to play it with an edge guy, the outside linebacker, and then the A-gap guy, and then they throw a flag on us for nothing. But It was really a great play there. Okay, here's another one down on the goal line here. What I like to show here, again, the edge guy doesn't make the play, but he creates a lot of problems. We don't get movement. We don't get movement out of the 4-eye, but we have a bigger guy playing here, and watch how the outside linebacker, using his hands, he's able to really push number 12 into the backfield here. Number 8, who comes off the edge, he's one of our better athletes. This is exactly what you're kind of looking. Now we wish he'd make the tackle here. It's exactly what you're looking for on those edge guys as they come in there, able to redirect and make a play. And so he gets into his legs, and by that time, we've got a lot going on there and getting there. And a 1 or 2 yard loss at the line down in the red zone is huge. In fact, this was at the 6 yard line. So really another picture perfect play here. I'll give you a look at it from the back view of what the running back sees here. See, we should have had a little bit more. We didn't get the edge here. This guy, he's kind of doing his own thing. We didn't get the edge. He had a short edge because there's only 2 there. If he would have came that way, if he would have came behind the line, he would have been able to make this play, and he didn't. So you got to work through some of those mistakes or whatnot. Really a good job there. All right, here is versus a 3-stack offense out on the 48 yard line. So we're in goal line, Wolverine for us, out on the 48 yard line or 47 yard line. I think we'll get a better look as they try to adjust to the tight end and fit in those gaps. And you can see here, as I back this up a little bit, as you can see here, there's no movement. Watch the offensive line. That right tackle, you can see he doesn't get any movement. Watch the fullback. He can't go anywhere. And we're able to get our hands on him pretty quick. Here's an end zone look at it. You can see the A-gap guy here is drawing 2 guys. He's submarining here. He's just taking those guys out and just creating a big mess. This was a 2nd and 7 out on the middle of the field. Here's one down on the goal line. A goal line stop, another goal line stop from the 1 yard line. Let's see what made this happen here. You see those gold helmets coming through the line. There's one crawling right there. Right there. As the guy starts to jump, he hits him right on the leg. And then we have a linebacker that meets him. There's an end zone view of it. So you want to see these gold helmets getting through those gaps, penetrating. And you see it right there. You see that gold helmet coming through as he starts to jump. And then he's met on the back side of it. All right, so here's one out of a pro set. So 2 back with a pro set. This is just an ISO play. You see the difference maker here. Watch the right tackle for them get pushed in the backfield. He's trying to close that gap, and that's 79, shoving him down, pushing him in the backfield. And then our outside linebacker, watch him put his hands on 88. Now he's determined that this is a run. So his run space is inside. So he gets off of the tight end and comes in, is able to make the play. And here's an end zone view of it. This is just a dive where the fullback, I thought it was ISO, but it's a dive where the fullback was supposed to fit in there, but ends up cutting it back. All right, so I did want to show you some pass here. So here's a few passes. This is in a deuce set, which is double tight end, double flanker. This is 3rd and 6. I think this is an example of us man turning. I don't know if you can see it or not. This is our safety, not our corner. Our safety is chest to chest with him. And so he ends up making the play, or at least they can't make the play. But he stays chest to chest, no call. You know, who knows? You never know what you're going to get down there as far as calls, but we're going to be aggressive. So that was our safety. He's a bigger guy. He's not our corner. He's not our cover guy. But again, he's just playing physical. He stays in his chest. He does not turn his back to him, which I think is critical down on the goal line. Let's see if you can get an angle of what the quarterback sees here. He's just throwing the fade, and really good coverage there. Now here's one into the boundary. Coverage into the boundary here. Good DB technique here. He's driving on that route, and he gets that the right hand in front, and knocks that thing down. Give you another look at it here. These are all short throws. You know, one was a one-step fade. This one's a little sprint out action, but good recovery. And that's our safety. Again, that's a safety. In this case, we take the corners out and let the safeties play physical there. Here's a stop down on the 1-yard line again. Did not get in. There's fullback dive, and it's just creating bodies and grabbing ankles and making sure that they don't have a clean look inside. Here's a goal line look at it. You got a pretty good look at it here. Getting down, our pad is under their pad. D linemen are down underneath them, and you can see some of these guys are getting bowed back. And you can see like their helmet, they're getting through their legs and getting bowed back. And there's just no movement there. Okay, so you get a look at, you know, as far as the 3 videos that I've talked and on our nickel defense and how we teach the nickel and how we're pretty effective against the run. The one sub package that we've needed from year to year has always been a good goal line defense. And you see it, we've used it out in the middle of the field. If you're facing a 3-back team, it's pretty versatile. It's not only a schematic difference, it's a personnel difference. So it's its whole little, I guess, its own package. So we call it and we take it out there. It's been effective for us. So I think if you're going to base out of a nickel, you really need to have some kind of go-to goal line. I know some people use the bear or the eagle front, but for us, this has been an effective front for us. So hopefully you get something out of it. If you have any questions, I have my email on there. You're welcome to email me. I'd be happy to help you out. Appreciate you watching.